All right, good morning, everyone. I'll switch to English for half an hour, then I'll promise we'll switch back to Hungarian. So my name is Peter Lechman. As Tamás introduced me, I'm here together with Jakub Jiricek. We're from SentinelOne, based in Prague. And today we want to talk a little bit about the evolution of SentinelOne, evolution of cybersecurity, and then how we're trying to leverage the AI. Everybody talks about AI, everybody talks different things about AI. You see all the announcements. There is an RSA this week, so every vendor has some components of AI. So we'll try to tell you what is our approach and what we announced last year at the RSA and what we delivered actually this year already as a product. So let's start a little bit about what we see still today on the market. We still see the continued problem with the ransomware. Everybody, I think that there is a solution to the ransomware problem. You've been all using different tools, different products, and we still see there are attackers who can enter the network and then still use the same ransomware techniques to encrypt the data. So that's a first problem. Second one is the vector of using the identity. Many times we don't see the attackers have to use the exploits or the vulnerabilities to get into your network. It's easy for them just to get a password and basically log into your network. So the identity is another threat vector that we see as a big problem. Cloud threats, again, I know it's another big topic about the cloud security in Hungary or in Eastern Europe, but still we do see, of course, the adoption of the cloud-based technologies and some threats related to that. And obviously the complexity, all of us, there is always a product to every security solution or every security problem, but the problem is who will manage all those different tools and different complexity. So, speaking of security, obviously it's no longer just buying the products and solving the problems. It is about how much it will cost me if something bad happens. Few data you can see here. I'll not go through all of these, but there are probably two that caught my attention. First one is about from Capgemini. 67% of alerts still go uninvestigated. So this is the latest data from last year. This is not a history of 10 years back. I know we all spoke of those data quite some time back, but it's still very relevant. Second one is the average cost of the breach in the US. So it's 9.8 million. The data is from FBI. Probably it's much lower in our countries, but the fact is, if there is a problem, it costs a lot of money. So let's talk a little bit about SentinelOne. As I mentioned about our evolution, you probably seen that because I was here last year and I was showing this slide, but I just want to give you some context unless you don't really know SentinelOne. So we started 10 years back as a NextGen AV vendor. So our idea when we entered the market was like, let's not think of signatures. Signature-based controls are not good enough. They cannot see all the threats and all the bad stuff. So let's build a product that will focus on the techniques and we will stop the attack if we see there is something bad happening based on the behavior. That's how we introduced the NextGen AV. It's still part of our product. It's the foundation. We expanded into the EDR. I would say the EDR is something that if there are still customers who are using the legacy AV, they're at least thinking of moving to the EDR. So what EDR brought was bringing another visibility into the data, ability to do the threat hunting, and make an investigation easier. These all two categories, the NextGen AV and EDR, was very much about device focus. So we were focusing how to protect the device, if it's an endpoint, if it's a server, if it's a mobile. But obviously the market have evolved and it all became focusing on the data. So this is when we also started looking into the XDR. And again, all the endpoint vendors have been talking about the XDR and everybody thinks something different on XDR. So our XDR is very much focused on the data and I'll speak a little bit later on the security data lake and what we do there. As the name of the presentation is about evolving the SOC and introducing the Purple AI, we also do believe the SOC evolution, which many customers started implementing the SIEM systems a few years back. Then later on, the SIEMs were not really working as they would expect. The many customers starting to put the different SOAR systems and the automations and the playbooks. I do and we do believe that these two categories will evolve into the XDR in the future. So as a SentinelOne, as again, many vendors you will hear today, everybody talks about platformization. Everybody thinks, again, different things. Our strategy is not acquiring companies and building that into the long spreadsheet of different part numbers and giving you the ability to purchase that from one single vendor. We're trying, if we're making an acquisitions, as we do, we're trying to put this as another feature or extension of our product. What does the platform means? We started with the endpoint. As I mentioned at the beginning, NextGen AV was the initial product that we started as a SentinelOne. Endpoint is still something that we're trying to focus on. That's our priority, how we can secure the endpoints using our technology. Again, I mentioned that endpoint for us, it could be a laptop, it could be a server, it could be a mobile, it could be anything that is running supported operating system. Second part is how we expanded was the identity piece. So with identity, you can imagine, or probably you all know the honeypot concept. We try to build these honeypot concepts on the network level, trying to lure the attacker into the parts of our infrastructure, which is kind of fake environment. And if we see there is someone triggering, or there is someone in that environment, obviously if there is an alert, it's a true positive alert and you have a problem. The similar concept of using the fake credentials, we now embedded into our agent on the endpoint. So we're going to have a unified agent now in May, where you can simulate fake credentials on the endpoint of your user. Cloud, I mentioned that in the beginning. It's becoming another threat vector, obviously, with the cloud adoption. We just introduced yesterday on the RSA our CNS, and I'll speak about it very shortly in a minute. Vulnerability management, again, for those who know SentinelOne from the past, we've added vulnerability management piece again into our agent. So you can use the same agent for NextGen AV, EDR, and XDR. You can also use the vulnerability piece on the same agent. So we can see what apps are run by the user, what are the vulnerabilities, and you can assess those applications and make some actions. And obviously the services, that's something that I would love to, and I like to work with our partners, how we can build the services for you. So not just the implementation services, but we see, and most of our partners who are the most successful partners are providing their managed detection, MDR type of services to the customers. We can do that as well as a vendor, but we can do that obviously together with a partner. All these different components, we can collect a lot of data, a lot of telemetry, and we put this data into what we call a security data lake. So we used our own backend, where we today ingest somewhere about 10 petabytes of data on the daily basis. That's a very powerful backend, actually this came from an acquisition of Skylar. Skylar was a company that was invented by the guys who wrote the Google apps. And we've used this backend to have the ability to offer the XDR capabilities for our customers. Later on, we said, okay, we have a backend, which is very powerful, very scalable. Let's now use this backend and open it for third party. So we started to building the third-party integrations through our marketplace. Today it's about 115 of them, and we start to ingest the data as a first thing. Obviously, we started to do much more. So there are some two-way integrations with the different, for example, identity providers, where you can also make some actions to, for example, Okta or a different identity provider to, I don't know, reset a user password or make some action that is related, for example, to an incident. So again, the security, as I mentioned, is no longer how to secure a device or a network. It's about how to secure the data and how to get most of the data. So introducing the security data lake, as I mentioned, is our backend, which we opened also for the third parties. So together, we don't no longer only ingest the data from our endpoints, the EDR data, but we also ingest the data from a third party, for example, your firewall, your identity provider, or others. What we do then with that data, obviously, as a first thing, you can imagine that as a kind of log collector, log management tool. You can ingest all this data, you can correlate and query this data. So not only the EDR, you can also query the third-party data, and you can do the threat hunting. So that's the first step. When I talk a little bit about the convergence of the SOAR and the SIEM, into this XDR. That's the first step. Second step, which we will provide in a very short time, that will be detection libraries and detection rules on those XDR data. So not only the detections on the EDR, which you can do today, but detections across all information and all the logs that we see. And obviously then it's very probably then a discussion then, should we then still use our SIEMs? Probably there will be still many use cases where you have to, and you will, but for security outcomes, probably the discussion will be, am I fine just to use what I have with my XDR vendor in place? Speaking of the cloud, very shortly, again, we already had an agent in our runtime security. So as I mentioned, the endpoint could be the laptop or server. One of the endpoints is obviously a cloud workload. So that's something that we can secure for many years using our agent. But now, 3 months ago, we added capabilities of the CNAP platform. So the CNS, Cloud Native Security, is combination of the runtime security of the agent and the CNAP, which means we can, of course, scan your environment for misconfigurations, vulnerabilities. We can check your data. We can do something, as you see here, attacker mindset is an offensive module. So basically, we can do something like a continuous pen testing on your cloud workloads. So a lot of cool stuff. We're happy to talk about more in details if you want. And running the POC for CNS is probably just signing to your cloud account and run this POC, and you get the results in 30 minutes. So a bit of a marketing. I will not deep dive into it, but obviously you can see us on the right part of the Magic Quadrant corner. We can dig down into the MITRE. To be honest, I used to love MITRE. I don't like it that much anymore, not because we didn't score well. We did score well, but I see all the vendors are saying we have our 100, there are 28 categories, and we take one, and this is why we scored the best. So let's deep dive into the MITRE. Again, if you look into the MITRE and how the tests were performed, if you put our products out of the box, we did have the 100% detections in the last 3 years from without any delays in the misconfigurations. A few more, again, as I mentioned with Jakub, we're based in Prague. In Prague, we have a large R&D center. There are quite a few people also from Hungary. So again, the product is being developed by many people in Eastern Europe. We also are building our support service center now in Prague. So in case you will run into the problem, you might be lucky to have the Hungarian support again, but don't want to promise that. So we're doing pretty well globally. Of course, we want to do much better also here in Hungary. So again, if you're interested, we're happy to run a POC and you can test our technology. Again, the customer speaks the best themselves. So if you're into a specific industry and you want to hear from one of our customers, we have more than 12,000 customers globally. We're happy to connect you with some of the names in your vertical. And again, they can speak themselves of the experience. One last thing, again, I'm very happy to share with you the Watchtower report. That's something that our threat hunters put together. Our customers who are using the Watchtower service get this report on a monthly basis. The ones per year, they collect all the information they've looked into through the year, and they put this in this report. So this report has a top 10 campaigns, top 10 tools that the attackers are using. So again, very cool data. If you want to have a nice summarized report, we're happy to share it with you, of course, free of charge. So let's now dive into the Purple AI, and I'll ask Jakub to join me on stage and introduce the Purple.
Good morning. My name is Jakub. I work as a solutions engineer in SentinelOne. And in the second part of this presentation, I will show you a bit more technical details of how we think next generation SOCs should be using the help of large language models and other intelligence, which is actually built in the product which we are just now launching, and the name is Purple AI. I will show you in the beginning technical principles, and then the last 5 minutes will be a short demo which I recorded yesterday and which will show a typical investigation. Hopefully it will work nicely. So as Peter already mentioned, AI, machine learning, all this high high-speed processing of a lot of data is nothing new for our company. And we've been using it since the very beginning. So in the beginning, in next generation antivirus, 10 years ago, we actually already implemented a couple of different models which were used for classification of unknown files. So if there is anything brand new, compiled just today, our agent is very capable of distinguishing if that is good or bad, and it will immediately, even without any internet connection, decide if it will allow execution or just basically not allow and create incident. We've been developing these capabilities during the years, and with the introduction of large language models, we basically decided that now it's good time to add like additional layer. So you can see some ideas where we think artificial intelligence can help with daily tasks in SOC. And we see Purple AI, the product which you will see in a demo in a moment, as like first instance of something, how especially junior analysts can work much faster and much more efficient compared to like traditional interaction with the SOC console. Because the learning curve, the volume of competence and knowledge for those specific positions is actually quite big, and especially large language models can very nicely absorb the breadth of information, transform it, and make it very, very, very easily useful, even for the young people in those positions. The main topic for this first release, which we have chosen, is threat hunting. Again, for those of you who are familiar with how SOC operates, you probably already very well know that threat hunting is like this top of the cake cherry in the daily SOC operation, because the majority of SOC operation is like, I have a queue of incidents, I have to quickly decide if this incident is true positive or false negative, and close it as soon as possible, so that the closure rate, again, which you have seen on that slide full of numbers, which Peter showed, is getting better in your organization. But those environments when you want really to be sure that nothing bad is happening, really people should invest like a portion of their daily time into looking for things which have not yet turned into incidents. So they are looking for anomalies, they are looking for things which are mainly, maybe only present in very few instances, spread across long periods of time, looking for things which are initiated from command line by built-in operating system tools, and things like that. And you can imagine that, again, this requires maybe yet additional level of knowledge and skills from the people who are doing this kind of skilled work. And we think that adding AI into this story actually adds like the biggest value. So that's why we decided to go in that direction. So what Purple AI is actually doing, it's available for every kind of analyst, for the young people, for the skilled guys, even for managers, because it can write nice summaries, it can even create like dashboards and showing in real time what's happening in the SOC. It will help accelerating this investigation efforts, and it's very easy, I would call it like natively integrated with the workflows. This is maybe something which will be enhanced more into the future. We are thinking of introducing like completely automated way of resolving incidents, but we are not there yet. At the moment, we support collaboration, so all the conversations which people are having with the AI assistant, Purple AI, is recorded in something which we call notebooks. And it's not only like the natural language questions and responses from the system. but complete history. And this complete history can be shared within the teams. You can ask for help. If you are starting guy, then you can ask your supervisor to look into that specific notebook and help you understand better what was discovered, for example, by AI. We have launched this a week ago, but the initial testing was running for a couple of months, and we had a few tens of customers who already used Purple AI on a daily basis, and they actually liked it very much. Those are the results from the survey, which we got from the real people using the product, and they are saying us, now our daily job is faster. It's easier for people to look for hidden things. And overall, we are happy with what we are seeing. So just a note for any existing customers of us, we are very happy to turn this feature for you on for free for a couple of weeks. And if you are aware of how investigation is working today in our console, you will see for yourself how more efficient this easily can be. One additional competition results which we have run, capture the flag. Probably you have played already some kind of capture the flag workshop. We are running also one of these. And this capture the flag which we are running is focusing on threat investigation. So how it works, basically, you get your gaming console where you get your questions and submit answers. And in order to find the answers, in second console, you have the investigation console of SentinelOne EDR, and you have to search for evidence. And basically write a queries, query the data lake full of data. And once you see the query, the answer, you submit it into the game engine. Simple concept. What we have done here, we created a team of 7 people. There was one super skilled guy. The guy who started with our company 5 years ago. He knows everything about Power Query. That's the language how you talk to data lake. And then we took 6 junior guys. Guys who are with us maybe half a year, who know the product, they know how to operate the console. And what we asked them, let's get as many points as you can. And the junior guys were able to utilize Purple AI for the investigation, for the capture the flag. The skilled guy no. And you can guess the results. The level 3 analyst ended up on place number 7, and junior guys were better, basically. Because automation, speed of processing, conversion from natural language into Power Query, making no mistakes, that's advantage. So, this is a summary. I will not go through it. Let's spend more time in technical principles and then in the demo. This is how Purple AI looks from the perspective of how it was created, how different building blocks are put together. So it's a very simple product. It's just one text prompt and one screen where you can see all the results. Interaction is done by typing a question into this little prompt. That's this icon of the end user. And this prompt or sentence goes into something which we call agent framework. And that's a switch of different pieces of technology of AI logic, which we have created by ourselves. And this agent framework switcher chooses, depending on what kind of question it gets from the end user, what kind of large language model or other component in the system it will use. So on the gray area, LLM foundation model, that's nothing we would be inventing ourselves. We are just using generally available language models like OpenAI, ChatGPT, quite some of them, and we are dynamically choosing the best for that specific task. So there are multiple models and we are switching between the best for that specific usage. What's really ours is the knowledge base. And knowledge base, that's like a large repository which was trained on our knowledge, skills of people working in the SOC, and also knowledge base articles, technical write-ups, which we pumped into the knowledge base, and those are available for the agent framework to get and respond to end user asking for a specific question. And then very important part of this functionality is direct connection to Singularity Data Lake, and basically that's where the live data comes into the play. So you ask a question, agent framework asks language model for translation into query language, then the query is run into the data lake, and then again another language model will interpret the results coming back and formulate the answer for the agent, for the end user. I will show it to you in a demo. So this is how the product looks like, and as I said, it's quite simple. If you don't have specific topic to discover, you can always use one of these 6 offered, and when I click on any of those, you will be shown a list of suggested questions to start with. So if we would be looking for like anomalies, then probably this would be a good starting point, and if you click on any of these sentences, it's the same thing as you would be typing those sentences down into the prompt form. For the demo, I asked Google to translate like my investigation prompt, are there any traces of malicious PowerShell commands in my environment, into Hungarian language. And I will ask my model in Hungarian language. Not that's something which we would be suggesting for people to do, but just to demonstrate the capabilities of large language models, because obviously it understands any language. So once I ask the question, then it gets translated into Power Query expression, and now just look at the expression. How complex is it? The level 3 guys can do this from the top of their head. They know which are the most frequently used columns in the database model. They know what are the behavioral indicators which refer to PowerShell malicious behavioral executions and things like that. But you can imagine how complex the topic is. What the knowledge base together with language models have done for us, it basically took the basic sentence and spit out detailed and very precise Power Query. Then the Power Query was executed. You've seen it already in the background. So now we are getting like a lot of results. 522 different results are coming in that default 24-hour window, because that's the default time frame. And now you can start looking at what those results are. And again, the skilled level 3 guy probably understands site ID, event ID, site name, architecture of the environment. For the junior guys, it might be better just to read the summary. And down in the bottom of the screen, you can see 3 bullets, and that's a summary of Purple AI reading all those 522 lines, understanding those, and creating a text summary. And now the junior analyst, he clicked on one of the events, and again, Purple AI is getting ready with helping him understand what's going on. Now he's clicking into the raw data, but when I pause for a minute, this purple text, which is in the top of the event description, was created in the background again by the AI logic. And what you can read inside of this is again understanding and some context of how this event is what is it all about, why it is important, what are the repeating patterns, compared to other events and things like that. Again, you would probably manually get into that by yourself as well, but that would require maybe 2, 3, 4 summarizing additional Power Query questions, and that's time consuming. And then the last portion of Purple AI, what it can do for you is some suggestions. So if I just scroll down a bit, you can see that at the end of this, it will offer you like 3 different additional questions. How you can dig deeper into what's inside of those results and what's typical next step. People who are investigating, like you have just now have done, they are going in next step. So you see the immediate help. It's really for people to learn threat hunting skills quickly, to do them efficiently, and really find stuff which is not easy to be found. And that's about it. I'm a bit over the time, so thank you for your patience with me, and I hope that we will have a chance to talk together maybe by the stand. Thank you.
Thank you, Jakub.